Okay.
Right. Good evening, everybody. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Um, we want to go ahead on and uh, do a roll call. Angela.
Here.
Okay. Ari. I think Ari had said that she would not be able to be here unless that has changed. Aya. Okay. Cobra. David.
Present.
Okay. Doc, I'm here. Liz.
Yeah.
Liz.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Hayden.
Yep, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Jocelyn.
Here.
Okay. I know John is not here. Kay.
Here.
Pretty.
I'm here. I just want to say somebody's asked for the meeting information, Marie Bossmann.
Marie has, yeah.
Yeah, she has. If someone could forward it to her. Thanks.
I did invite her.
Okay.
So, but
Just
sometimes
lost
those
her.
invites don't go through. So.
Okay. Let me continue with the roll call. Let's see now. Sabrina
Here.
and Sandra.
Here.
Okay. Now we do in fact have a quorum, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Great. All right. I want us to take a moment and review the minutes.
Cobra just arrived.
Oh, great. Cobra, welcome. All right, so I want to review the minutes. I'm going to see what I can do about sharing these. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can get this to work. Yeah. Can everyone see it? See the oh, that's the minutes.
Not yet.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Can everyone see the minutes now?
No, Doc.
Doc,
can't-
you have to go to present now first. And share
Ah,
your-
that's what I thought I did. Oh, okay. Let's try it again.
You got to click on the little icon and click share when it
All
goes
right.
blue, and then you can switch. There you go. Now you can switch.
Okay. Thanks. Now let's see here.
So click on your word down the bottom right or bottom middle. There you go.
Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you again. I'm so accustomed to Zoom. I just got to get used to this. All right. Let's take a moment and I'll scroll slowly. Look these over. And if there are any questions, comments, or testimonials, please let us hear those, okay? Any questions or comments on the minutes? Can we entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I will motion to accept as presented.
Can we get a second?
I second.
Okay, it's moved and properly seconded that we accept the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. All right, the minutes are accepted. Thank you. Okay. Now, next on our agenda, we have some guest speakers who are going to present to us the issue of changing the town seal. So we have Dennis and is Marie up here as well?
I did forward the link to her just a moment ago, so hopefully she can join us
Okay,
momentarily.
so Dennis, are you prepared to begin? Can't hear you. You're on mute, I think. Dennis, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Uh,
That's how prepared I was. Marie was prepared to begin. She has the PowerPoint and was going to share the screen to put it up. I just sent her the link as well.
Okay.
David,
All right,
said,
so that we
give
can,
her a few minutes, maybe.
well, we can move on to another agenda item, and so that we don't lose time.
All right. I'm going to walk away and get my phone so I can give her a call.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Let's move to the student internship update. Again, Ari is not here. However, she had sent to me an email indicating that she wishes to step down as chair. And so I had asked Liz if she'd be willing to, since she recently joined the committee, I asked if she'd be willing to step in as the chair, and she had indicated that she would. So I don't know if you have any comments on that, Liz, or anything you'd like to
Are
say.
you on yet? Are you on yet?
It's an honor, but I need my committee members' help to communicate and all those things. Other than that,
Sure.
Oh,
Well, the fact is that let me just simply say that anytime you take on a leadership role, it's a challenge. Okay, and we appreciate your willingness to step up. And I seem to, for some reason or another, when I brought up, I really forgot to get the handle on this Google Meets. It's just so different to me. I personally have lost the visual on it.
can I say one more thing? But I am the assist co-chair for the community service. Is it okay? I can be in two places.
You're the co-chair for what now?
Community working group.
Community Services Working Group.
Oh, that is okay. So perhaps we should choose another person to be chair.
Yeah, either Cobra or Sabrina.
There's
Okay.
Marie.
Well, that's an excellent recommendation. So Cobra, would you be interested in helping us out there?
Yeah, yes, I can certainly help out. Absolutely.
Okay, meaning that you'd be willing to be the chair of that committee.
Do we have any takers, volunteers?
Somehow.
All you, Cobra. All you, girl.
Should we do a raise hand count?
Well,
How about one of those? It's you.
Well, I feel confident that that you will do an outstanding job. And so I thank you for your willingness to step up. The fact is that Ari had shared with me a letter that she had sent to the Niskayuna High School guidance counselor. I can forward that to you. And and to my knowledge, Ari has not stepped away from the committee. She only said she could. She asked if she could. It's okay if she stepped down from the chair. So she'll certainly continue to be a resource for you.
Okay. Uh, Doc, I just wanted to mention, you had wanted that contact person that we were using at Niskayuna High School. So you have that person's name in regards. You just wanted to make sure they were distributing, like how are they getting the application and announcement out? Ari did send that to you. So because I think you wanted the person's contact information who we're utilizing as our point person at the high school.
Oh yes, you're right. All right.
So that person's name is on there. So we do have the person that Ari sent the email to, just in regards to addressing what needs and which group of kids it went out to and how the school posted it. I don't have that information yet. I can certainly obtain it, but it definitely went out to Niskayuna High School. We did get one person of interest. We got a referral. We responded back to the candidate. Provided the application, provided the information about the role, and so far they have never submitted an application. It was just, I believe, Sabrina can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was just an email of interest, and we responded and provided all the documents, and we never got an application. We did have the Niskayuna mailbox, our mailbox that we use for interns, checked to see if any applications came in. And thus far, no applications have come in. The question that came up, I believe, Ari actually called me briefly yesterday. And the question that came up, because she checked the mailbox to see, did we have any applications? And she said that what happened, she has found that last year is that interns for spring and fall, we don't get any because they have their work caseload. But we tend to get more applicants in the summer because usually they're on break and they have less of a workload. So the question is Liz has a contact person at one of the local colleges that she thinks can be a point person for us to get it out to that college, and Liz can maybe share the name of the college with us, as I can't remember. But the other thing is, do we have any members that has a point of contact person we can utilize to relay this information to get it distributed through at our local colleges?
So I contacted Union College, so I forwarded the information what Ari gave to me. So, and based on my experience with the interns, and summertime is only 1 month and a half. So I don't know, they have enough time to work. Maybe we can extend the time period for the whole year. Maybe it will help. I don't know.
Well, it's my understanding this is a voluntary position, is it not? It's not a paid position?
No.
Well, that might that might explain. If I would imagine if a high schooler and or a college student had a choice between an unpaid opportunity and a paid opportunity, I would imagine the paid opportunity would most likely win out, with the exception of if in fact they thought that the experience was connected to some type of future career goal. So I don't know. It's just something to think about. But we don't have any control because since we have no budget, the most that we can offer is the experience. So the only thing, I guess the only other thing that would imply is that we would have to essentially cast a broader net to increase the odds that we'll get some interns.
that's what I wanted to mention and bring up to you, Doc, and the members, is that our last conversation about the interns, it was specific to the town. What would the body think about, as you just said, expanding that?
That's a good question. Not everyone at once, y'all.
This is a Niskuna task force. I think we started with the Niskuna students and college, who the kids are going to our local colleges. That's what we reach out before. But if we have to change those, we have to get the permission from the town board, how we going to pursue this opportunity for the children. So we can discuss in our special group instead of we taking all our time in our official
Sure.
meeting.
I think you're right. We sure don't want this to turn into a committee meeting. However, I do want to underscore something, and that is, I believe that providing opportunities to youth is one of the most important things that we can do. And if we can come up with some type of strategy to reach more youth, that really would be helpful. Again, and perhaps it should not be so surprising that I feel this way, because I'm a college professor and that's what I do, is work with youth. But the bottom line is, I see this as being very important. And so I'm asking that committee to please be as creative as you can. And let's see what we can do about finding some interns.
Doc, Cobra, I have a question. Have you considered either the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts, only from the standpoint that they have to earn certain badges or merits or, a project to get to a certain level? And maybe there's someone in that group who might be able to do the internship, and they would be still in the Niskayuna area.
That's a good suggestion.
So the kids need the community service points, to get the awards, the gold award and things like that. So we can reach out to those people.
Well, that sounds like a very good suggestion. And as soon as you said that, I believe that was Sandra, right? You said
Yes,
that?
it was me. It was me,
Okay.
Sandra.
And I'm saying that because I've just totally lost the screen. I guess you guys can see me, but I can't see you guys. But nevertheless, what came to my mind also was contacting the churches. Oftentimes, churches have outreach programs that where they want to involve their youth, and that might be another source for finding interns. Anyway, it's just a thought. Or when I say churches, I mean more generally religious organizations, because there may very be churches, synagogues, mosques, the whole thing. So, but nevertheless, just a thought. Any other commentary on the student internship?
Angela typed something about the Union College STEP program, so I can reach out to the Union Career Center. I can ask Ashley to extend our application to that program.
Okay, that sounds good. All right.
And also, I can reach out to the synagogues and our Rotary Club if they know any students are willing to serve in that.
Good. Any other thoughts? Well, thank you. So let's move on to the. Well, has Dennis? I have Dennis and Marie gotten back on, or?
Yes, we're both here.
Okay. Well, in such case, in that case, what I'll do is to turn the floor over to you again. I didn't get a bio, but I do know that Dennis is an historian, or actually, it's a town historian. I looked on the website, on the town's website, and I see that he has a bachelor's, master's, and PhD from SUNY Albany, the school in which I've worked for some 27 years. And so it's good to see some of our former students out there trying to do a little good. But nevertheless, again, they're going to make a presentation about a proposal to change the town seal. So without any further ado, we'll turn it over to Dennis and Marie.
Good
Okay.
evening.
Yeah, good evening. Marie, you can't share your screen, right? So,
I cannot share the screen,
okay.
so if maybe
Right.
you could share the presentation,
Yeah,
Dennis.
Seth, can I present? Seth?
Yes, you can do whatever you'd like.
Just okay.
I just don't understand why I can't see.
Okay, here it is.
Doc, do you have something in the top of your menu bar that just says Meet Task Force on Racial Equity and Justice?
No, I can't even. I don't even see the. I don't even see the. I can't see the bar at all.
It's going to be in your browser. So if you click in your browser, there should be like tabs up the. Once you click on the browser, there should be tabs on the top, and it should say Meet.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Boy, thank you for bringing this 20th century man into the 21st.
Dennis,
Okay.
if you could share the presentation again, please. While Dennis does that, I just would like to introduce myself. I am Marie Bossmann. I am an Niskayuna resident, and I have been living in Niskayuna for 20 plus years and moved to Niskayuna from South Africa. Last year, I was doing graduate studies in anthropology through an African university. And one of our projects in one of the courses was to be a local community project where we are able to work in a community on the topic of decolonization. And so my thought was to find out a little more about the Niskayuna history. I talked to John Lemelin, and John introduced me to Dennis, our Niskayuna town historian. And it is in those conversations that I happened to start to work with Dennis on the idea of correcting the town logo. So we prepared a presentation, which we brought to the leadership committee a week ago, the leadership committee of the task force. And tonight we would like to bring it to the whole task force. So as soon as Dennis has the presentation up.
Yeah. Seth, are you still there? I'm not sure why. I hit the present now button.
Well, you were presenting for a minute there. What I usually do is go to present now, and then go your entire screen. You click on the thing. You click on share. Once you've selected it, it'll
Entire
show
screen.
then go to your PowerPoint, and then go to slideshow.
Wow.
Okay, or when I I'm sorry I hit your entire screen, but it just says Ed wants to share the contents of your screen with Google Meet, and that.
Okay, and
But
then
it isn't showing my PowerPoint.
well, click on your entire screen, and then click share.
All right.
Okay, Now you're going to click on your PowerPoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
Oh,
get
okay.
down there.
Well, I guess I'm not alone here. I feel
No,
better.
I was about to say that, Doc.
I feel better.
Add or Dennis, just email it to me and I'll present it for you. If that's easier.
I don't see where I don't. I don't
Down,
see
the,
where,
down at the bottom. Yeah, to your right. To your right. To your other. Your other. There we
the
go.
other way.
Down
Okay.
there.
All right.
Now go up to the menu. About dead center. There.
Can you see? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I can't see you, but go ahead. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Too many times on Zoom.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you very much. I'll get us started on here. The project is about correcting some of the erroneous depiction on the Niskayuna town logo. As you know, our town logo, we have two. We have a seal and a logo. So we talk about this one with the yellow circle as the Niskayuna town logo. And the error on this logo is specifically the 5 TPs in the top right-hand corner. In October 2020, Dennis brought a presentation to this group, to the task force, with some information about the Niskayuna history. And in that presentation, he outlined this error in the logo and the idea that someone, should be working on maybe correcting this in honor of Indigenous people and to make right in terms of Niskayuna's history. So during 2021, as I mentioned when I talked to Dennis and he brought up that this is something that he would like to work on, we formed a small work group with including Dennis, Jamie Puccioni, and myself to see how can we get this going and what would it take to start the work. So in this little work group, we decided as a first step to work on a broad project plan. And I would like to point out that our vision for this project is not just to fix an error, almost like a business transaction. It's a little bit more than that. We are hoping that this would be a community project, not just a few individuals working on it, but that we would involve community members, both in the design and in the implementation and decision-making process. And so that the community is a part of it and also can learn from what we learn through this process. So the collaboration is important. The transformation means that this is not just an intellectual exercise. We're not just going to replace the TPs maybe with a longhouse, but think about this more broadly and have some action and some change around this project. And then creativity involves the creativity of the artwork that would be involved in
Marie,
changing it.
excuse me. Are we supposed to
Yes.
be on another slide or still the first slide?
Nope, same, second slide. Sorry, next slide.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
So that was the presentation slide. Apologies. And then
No, it's
next slide. Thank you. Next slide, Dennis. Vision.
Vision.
Yes, vision. Thank you. Apologies for that.
All
So
right. Tell me to switch. That's all. Yeah.
yes, I will. So vision, community transformation, and then creativity involving creative work along the design of the town logo, the redesign, but also the critical thinking that goes into changing this. Next slide, please. We did come up with a project plan, and to be transparent, the project plan was part of the academic work that I had to do for the University of South Africa, through which I'm doing the graduate work. So that was a good motivation to think about this more broadly. And the plan includes the goal and the scope of this project, includes the participants, which started with myself and Dennis and Jamie, and we hope to expand that, which is one reason we are talking to this group tonight. a timeline that we originally thought it's something we could do in maybe a 6 to 9 month period, but the local elections played into that timeline and extended that. And of course, as we would like to involve more community members, we would like to take the appropriate time to involve all the right people. There are the costs that we need to still investigate, and also hopefully with an expanded group, talk about the design criteria, the decision-making process, and then hopefully an event to reveal this and to create some learning around a new town logo. Next slide, please. Jamie connected us with Jane Rom. She is a teacher at the Niskayuna High School, and she works with the high school students who are part of the Honors Art Society. They, as part of their program as seniors, they have a community component. So Jamie, when she connected us with Jane Rom was very excited about this and agreed that the students would be working on a redesign as part of their community project. So in that process, we met with the teacher, Jane Rom, and some students who were in the background via Zoom. And Dennis gave them an overview similar to what he did for this task force about the Niskayuna history, about the depictions in the town logo. And I also provided some information about community work, the vision for this project, and also some Google searches that we did about other towns, their issues with town logos on similar levels, and around the north, mostly around the northeast. So that was just to give the students a background. We followed up several times with them, and they actually came back with some draft designs. So we got some 4 designs. Between in this current work group, we do not consider any single one of them the perfect design, but they certainly provide us with lots of interesting inspiration. So next slide, please. So in these 4 designs, I'll give you a quick overview of the elements that the students thought of removing, what would they maintain from the current logo, and elements that they added. Next slide, please. The elements that they removed, the 3 elements, they removed the teepees, as you will see in the following slides. They also felt that they wanted to remove the male settler figure as something that belongs to an era that may not be sympathetic to all people of Niskayuna and of this area. And they also felt to remove the date as that sets a date for white or European or Western settlement of the area, but doesn't necessarily represent the history of everybody living in this area. Next slide, please. And so if you can just click through this, so the elements that they kept in the designs, as you can see, there are the indigenous depiction of a indigenous person with one person working in a cornfield. The other one is similar to what we currently have. Next slide, please. Some of the other elements that were maintained, the water, idea of water, which really relates to the idea of the river that we have in our area. That is a very dominant feature of the geography. And then of course the map. And then one of the designs had both the river and the map, which is also in our current design.
So what happened to
Just
Marie?
lost Marie.
Lost Marie. Well, these are some of the other. I'll try to fill in some of the other elements.
She's back.
She's back.
She's back.
Oh, she's back. Okay.
I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. The next, so on this slide, also maintained. Okay, next, the elements of the name Niskayuna, and then they brought in the iconic red N of Niskayuna. Next slide, here you'll see the elements of Knowles Atomic Laboratory. Also in the current one person chose the name of the business and the other kept the atomic symbol. Yes.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. And then the corn. And as you know, Niskayuna means fields of corn or corn waving in the wind. And one, if you can click again, Dennis, one design also brought in the beans and the squash together with corn. Those are the three sisters of the agricultural. The designs included, three of the designs included the long house and correctly replacing the teepees from our current design. Next slide, please. New elements that they brought in that I thought was kind of fun. The water tower as a feature of our town. And then a couple of the designs have the fireworks from Niskade in there, which it's such a youthful thought and actually something that brings the community together, which was really interesting, I thought. And next slide, please. Couple other new elements was the sun as new life or sign of growth, and then the wampum belt of that depicts the 5 nations with of the it's called the Hiawatha belt, also a representative of the 5 nations. If you can click again, Dennis, just and that is the 4 designs that we have currently. And now I'll hand it over to Dennis, who will describe some of the next steps and why we are presenting this to this group. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for putting it together, Marie. And I'd like to, first of all, add my thanks to the task force for inviting us to speak to you tonight. I'd also like to begin by saying that there's little doubt in my mind that the Task Force on Racial Equity and Justice is the most fitting of the town committees to move forward with this effort to try to address the defects that exist, at least as I see them, in the Niskayuna Town Seal. The resolution which established the committee stipulated responsibilities, which included assessing whether the town programs, policies, practices exacerbate racial disparities, and recommending a plan for ongoing community input with regard to these racial or equity issues. It seems to me that addressing the problems with the town logo fit these responsibilities quite well, quite directly. Also, the task force participation and sponsorship of this project, I think, would lead credibility to the effort, while also demonstrating both the task force and the town's commitment to addressing equity and justice issues in the town. And also, I think it's important to understand, I think, to reiterate what Marie just said, that revising the town logo is not simply about revising some aspects of the town business or town procedures, but it's about acknowledging an existing inequity and taking the steps necessary to correct it. It's a broader step than just removing teepees in a logo. So in this regard, we have 2 requests we want to place before you tonight. First is request a member or members of the task force to join the work group that's already put together. So the 3-person work group, Supervisor Puccioni, Marie, and myself, add at least 1 member of the task force to join the group under the task force. That's one request. The second request is then we would like the task force to sponsor a resolution, which will be prepared by the work group and sent before the town board for adoption as a town policy, a town effort. And that resolution would call for, first of all, the creation of an ad hoc committee, expanded beyond just the current work group to include, hopefully, a member of the town board and a member of the historical committee, interested town residents, as well as interested high school students, teachers, and hopefully with input from members of the indigenous communities who were here before the Europeans arrived. And that would be Mohawk and the Mohegans. There is some, well, depending on whose history you read, the Mohawks say Henry Hudson came up here and met with them. The Mohegans say he came up here and he met with them. But there's no doubt that both were in the region for some time. And so both of them should somehow or other, if we're going to have a representation of indigenous culture, it's likely both of them should be in there somewhere, but we'd at least like to have their input and their suggestions. So in other words, it would be an inclusive community committee. And the committee's sole purpose would be to deal with the clearly erroneous image in the logo in a careful, deliberate, and deliberative manner. Committee would then take time. I'm not sure how much time it would take, but I don't think it's something that could be done very quickly. The time necessary to investigate the need to discontinue use of the town logo, to try to understand the consequences of taking this action, and then to consider replacing the logo. For instance, survey the current uses of the logo. Where is it currently being used? It's on a lot of the town vehicles. It's on town stationery. It's on every resolution that is passed by the town board. Where is it used, and how are we going about stop using it? Determine the financial costs associated with its replacement. Address any community concerns there might be about changing the logo. I don't doubt there might be some people who would object to it. And so addressing their concerns and making sure they understand why we think this is necessary. And then designing a new logo that more accurately reflects the town's history, and more broadly reflects an inclusive idea of the town's history. And then finally, after this work is done, prepare and submit a resolution through the task force approval, a resolution to the town board with the committee's conclusions regarding the steps that need to be taken to correct and replace the town logo. So it's not necessarily going to be an easy thing, but this ad hoc committee would be able to put all this together and move forward on the project. So that's what we're asking your support in. Whoops, I guess I forgot to fast forward here. That's what we're asking your support in. There's 2 steps. A member of the committee to join with us, and then the task force willingness to sponsor this resolution. So thank you. Appreciate your attention. And if you have any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them.
Okay, I got it from here. Are there any questions? I certainly have a number. But first, are there any questions by committee members? Angela, I thought I saw you had a question in the task in the.
Yeah, I was just asking if members of indigenous communities have been consulted, and Dennis mentioned that in his closing statements.
Well, what Dennis mentioned that they would reach out. But it seems to me, it doesn't seem to me that in this whole plan that indigenous people have much input at all.
And I really do think that should be a central focus. I think, in particular, being that that's one of the driving forces around even sort of revisiting this topic. So it would seem as if that would be a very important element to the new committee members.
In fact, I'll go further. Wait, hold on for a minute, Dennis. Because my impression here is that it seems to me that neither of you are of indigenous descent, and you've developed a plan, and so in a sense you want indigenous people to pretty much sign off on what's already been done when in fact they should have been part of the very development of such a plan. I don't know. I think it was a great idea to include the high schoolers and coming up with some designs. But was there any input from indigenous people for no designs. I didn't hear any. Um, so I have a
Well,
strong concern. I have a concern about that. I also have a concern with the idea. It sounds as if similar to the idea of just including some indigenous people. It sounds almost as if you want the task force to uh, pretty much sign off on something that we haven't had a lot of input in to as well. So I'm kind of concerned about that. Um, you know,
Doc, if
yeah,
could
go for it.
can I interrupt you for a second?
Interrupt,
Well,
if I got more questions, I'm coming back.
that's fine. That's fine. I have reached out to and I have contacted both the representatives of the Mohawk and the Mohegan community and talked to them about this idea. And they are fully supportive of doing something about the incorrect image in the logo. So, and I am not aware of any member of the Mohawk or Mohegan communities that live in Niskayuna. But the
Do
people
you
I
know of
talk to
any?
are, huh?
Do you know of any Native Americans living in this community?
I am not aware. No, I'm not aware of any.
You say you don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Is there should you not know?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't know how I would know. I mean, I'm not sure if they're registered anywhere.
Well, okay.
We can reach out and find out. We can send, try to locate some. But
so do you
Doc Seth is raising a hand.
Seth, okay. But I and I'll get to that. I just want to finish my sentence. That's okay. And basically, I guess the challenge here is that it just seems as if that there are some preconceived notions about what's good for some other group. That's a little disconcerting. Who raised their hand? Who raised their hand?
I did.
Okay.
Just to add something to this discussion, you have to be aware when you're creating this logo that you're going to need high resolution, print ready type of images and stuff like that, because obviously this is used more than just on the website, or it's included on a bunch of the publications and stuff like that the town does. So just something to keep in mind when you're doing this.
Okay, thanks, Seth. Maria, you had raised your hand.
Yes, I very much appreciate your thoughts, Doc, on bringing this up. This is certainly, it's very important what you're saying, that this is not a matter of talking about or working on other people. It should be about working together and talking with people who are part of this topic, and specifically here Indigenous people. I think as a small work group, we do not feel that this project is actually, we feel like we've just started the work. When we started working, we thought the TPs need to be replaced. But then as we thought about it more, we realized that this is ideally a broader community project, community buy-in, and also definitely participation and collaboration with all groups involved, Indigenous people, everybody who is part of this, the history of this area, and who are residents in the area. So I do not think that myself, Dennis, or Jamie had the idea that we are asking the task force to just sign off on something that is in its final format. We have not started really to get broader community buy-in, and we would love for the task force to help us with that. We know that the task force has done some work on how to reach out to the community, and some of that knowledge would be very valuable for us. So if the task force is willing to have a member join this work group, we hope to tap into that knowledge. But by no means would this be a project that would be about people without working with people and have collaboration and input from anybody.
Well, see, the way it was presented in terms of almost like as if there was a already predetermined game plan. It certainly gave the impression that we just want folk. We're a couple of white persons who came up with this. We need some non-white people to sign off on it. But Liz, you had your hand up.
Yeah, Marie explained because I was concerned, there are only 3 people taking the decision. We should reach out to the community and find out who is the original people. I don't want to, miss them. I like the cornfields and the American Indian picture in our logo. So we should keep that in mind, as a work group. Only a suggestion because as an older person, my thinking is from older generations, so I like my older people's representations.
I guess I'm just saying that. I guess all I'm just saying that for certain groups, let's for instance, if this had to deal with the Asian community, bottom line is you wouldn't dare start this thing without having a person of Asian descent right there from the very beginning, and I guess that is what is troubling. My guess is, and I guess it is bothersome that I mean, one could you say you didn't know A, if there are any indigenous people in Niskayuna, B, and if there are how many. I mean, that's almost like a census count. Angela, you had your hand up again. Angela, then Marie.
Nope, I don't think that I had my hand
Okay,
up.
I'm sorry. I guess my eyes must have skipped. Okay, Marie.
I would be interested to know from you, Doc, and from other members of the task force. Clearly, I agree with everything you say, Doc. That is how the project should proceed. I'm just wondering if that is a criticism of the work that has been done until this point, or is that the point or the positive approach that we would like to take going forward, including your comments and being more collaborative, which I do not disagree with you. I think I personally, of course, we've been involved and did some work on this and have been really enjoying this and thinking it is important work for our community. But it sounds to me as if we could take maybe a forward approach in that might be more productive than a purely critical approach of the work that has been done until now. We are not
But
proposing that it is written in stone or that is final. We're open to whatever it would take to do this right going forward. And that is why
well,
we're
listen.
here.
Well, let me just
Honestly.
say this. Okay, first of all, criticism is not a negative thing if, in fact, it can correct a wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so the bottom line is that to I quite frankly, it just seems to smack of white privilege, and if that's the case, you should be told that. That's not a criticism. That's a fact. And so now, not saying that there weren't good intentions, but I just find it a serious issue. Now, it's not a. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's a fatal flaw. But what I am saying is that it seems to me that you, as presented, you're not saying to us, hey, this is an idea that we started. You've already got a full laid out game plan as to how to go about bringing this about. And again, I guess I just find that not only somewhat premature, but I think it's uh, somewhat assumptive, if not actually quite arrogant, even though it's presented in a soft, subtle way. Who else is? Someone else had their hand up. Kay.
Thanks. I'm just um, I'm just conflicted with how this is being discussed, and I'm being very honest here. I want to appreciate Marie and Dennis's work, and to some extent Jamie's involvement and her work in this as well. The way and now I've heard this presentation twice, and the way I heard it, it did not look like you were telling us what to do, or you were saying this is what we think should be done. You were presenting some research work. I took it as presenting some research work and some background work and a little bit of homework, and some suggestions for how we can move forward. I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing. There's obviously a lot of work put in that. And I personally took it as, what you think, Dennis and Marie think would help move this and the momentum that this will get if the task force adds its name to it. I don't think anything was presented as a set in stone idea or, this is what we should do. Plans can change, so can project plans change, and that's totally okay. They want sponsorship, they want involvement, they want help, and they want our platform. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, but that's just me.
Okay, all right, thanks. Hayden, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to just really quickly sort of I think that the political reality of the situation is something that could kind of should be brought up. I'm afraid that of the like a vocal minority of people who don't want the change to sort of take over the issue. So I think that, standing up to the scrutiny is going to be a good thing for sure.
Yeah, I certainly don't. I don't begrudge the efforts. In fact, I applaud the idea, but it just seems to me a greater effort should have been made to include indigenous persons. And I don't know if you, so you are a member of the, well, you've got your degrees from the history department. You don't specialize in this area, do you, David? Dennis, excuse me.
No, I don't.
Okay, so did you consult with any of the historians at SUNY Albany who might actually specialize in indigenous cultures?
No, I haven't. But
Well,
you don't really need a specialist to know that the teepees are an egregious mistake.
Well, that may very well be the case. But I'm just talking about if you're talking about those are the types of persons who might have actually been able to guide you in terms of finding the right people to be involved. You said representatives of those particular tribes said that they in principle like the idea. They put anything in writing on that?
No, there's just been phone conversations and video conversations.
Did you invite them to be involved in the project, actively involved in the planning of the project?
No, but they are on call if we are moving forward with the project, and be happy to come and talk to whatever committee we do finally decide to form about properly presenting images.
But
if we seem to present this as something set in stone, it's certainly not our idea, not our wish. We are presenting something as a work in progress. It's going to take some time to complete and going to take a lot of involvement to complete. And of course, the image of the Native American image that would be presented or could be presented in a new seal is one part of what the new seal would be. It isn't going to be the whole seal. At least that wouldn't be my expectation. So it would certainly involve a lot of people and a lot of time to come up with the right answers.
Okay.
I don't think I have all the right answers, believe me.
Okay, David.
My children have told me that very often.
Okay, David, you had your hand raised.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say I think that Dennis and Marie and Jamie have acted in total good faith here in presenting this, the research they performed. And I see this as a springboard to move forward with the effort. I don't, and I know Doc, you mentioned that, good intentions are all well and good, without ignoring some of the other factors that might be driving this, particularly the indigenous populations to be represented. But I think, the point's been well made. And I think Dennis and Marie and Jamie and whatever task force members may join along in this effort will certainly take all those things into consideration to have this done with the best of not just intentions, but deliberateness to make sure that the indigenous populations are well represented, that their input is thoughtfully sought after and received and taken into consideration when moving forward with this. I think I think we've all said what needs to be said tonight, and I think moving forward, I think we're well placed at this point.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Certainly.
Seth, you had
Thank
your
you.
hand raised.
If you look in the chat box, I have posted the modern day, the Mohawk tribe, which was, I believe, the prevalent one in our area. Their website and their phone number. So I don't know if Dennis, if you want to grab that out of there.
Okay. So Sabrina, thanks, Seth. Sabrina, you raised your hand.
There is also the Iroquois Museum in Cobleskill that does consultation work. It is fee-based, but that's another resource other than the Mohawk area as well. I put that in the chat as well.
Okay.
There is our museum in Schenectady Museum, right? And Union College has David's wife. She does a lot of nice talks. Maybe you can reach out to her too. Dr. Brennan, you know her, right?
Doctor?
David's wife, what's her name? David? Margie.
Okay. Thanks, Liz. Kay, you raised your hand again.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just want to be conscious of the time and the actual ask here. I don't think the intention of Dennis's and Marie's presentation was to problem solve on this platform today, but to get a general feedback from the task force and see if we have something to vote on today, or maybe at the next meeting.
Yeah, so it sounds like the feedback is to ensure that the process is in fact inclusive, and to ensure that multiple voices are at the table, and then maybe go back to the drawing board about what some draft images could be like.
Agreed.
Liz, you raised your hand.
We can vote on next time, so we need little more clarifications and so forth.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Liz is asking if we can vote on it the next time, so we have time to sort of absorb some of the material, get some clarification, and maybe vote on this for the next meeting.
Yes. I think that probably would be best. Again, I want to thank both Dennis and Marie for their presentation. And without question, in principle, we're talking about a project that has potential, has some merit, but of course the devil's in the details. And so I guess what we'll have to do is we'll engage in some discussion on this and get back to you guys perhaps at the next meeting, or at least by the next meeting. It definitely bears some thought. So thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
I was not certain. I wasn't anticipating. I wasn't anticipating this being an issue that would take up so much time. Um, at this point, I just want to first of all see what is past our allotted hour, and to see the feelings of the rest of the task force. Should we table the rest of our business until the next meeting, or do you want to go on? Let's see how. Let's see what is the feeling of the group here.
I just have a question. I mean, little comment at the end. Other than that, I don't know.
Can you possibly put the agenda up again quickly, Doc? I think the rest is pretty routine, right? There's nothing
Yes,
new.
it's pretty. Yeah, rest is pretty routine. But Sabrina, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think some of the committee reports might be able to wait, and maybe just have Pretty give an update on the survey, so that I know you were hoping to do that, the workshop, the retreat. So maybe that will help inform the retreat process, and maybe the other work groups can hold off till next time. I don't know. I am personally tapped and I'm ready to just hit the hay. So
Well, why don't you present that as a motion?
I make a motion that Pretty gives an update on the survey, and we table all other work groups till the next meeting.
I second.
Okay, got it. Okay, I saw Cobra seconded at least first. All in favor of said motion, say aye.
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 Okay. All opposed, say no. Okay, that being said, the motion is passed. Pretty.
You're on mute. You're on mute still. Wait, go.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have put a copy of the survey in the shared drive, but really, very quickly, we had 7 responses to the survey. Generally, people were in agreement that we were kind and we took each other's needs into consideration when we had meetings. With respect to process, people somewhat agreed that it was complex, we needed a systemic approach, and the decision making was transparent. In terms of our maturity as a task force, we most felt we were still in phase 1, that is familiar dysfunction. There was like a 5-phase thing that we were still trying to work together, but not quite there yet. And most TAS members were engaged in informal discussions, aware of multiple group identities, acknowledged in public when others' ideas were good, acknowledged an idea statement made by another person. And they can assist with training and identifying or strengthening relationships and communications, though it seemed had less capacity to guide achieving vision, mission, and goals. So in short, basically, there were a lot of strengths within the task force that people could offer, but we were not quite there about working together. So I have the more detailed kind of survey and the comments on the shared drive. And I think I sent it to you yesterday, and I hope I sent you the right version. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say before we close out in reference to that, I was hoping that we'd be able to have the have our workshop on the 19th of March. Now, the information that feedback we had gotten from the town legal counsel is that it cannot be a task force meeting per se. In other words, we can't discuss Niskayuna business, okay? And in fact, really, in reality, we don't even really have to bring up the word Niskayuna. The workshop will be on just developing organizational effectiveness. How does any organizational group, as you say, work better together? How do we accomplish our goals? more effectively and efficiently, and not spin our wheels. So so we don't have to mention the town at all for that. And so again, was looking at March 19th, and it was the third Saturday. We're talking from about 9 to 11, a 2-hour thing. And I would hope that most members would be able to attend that. I wanted to keep it tight in terms of time, because I know that we all are busy. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that we had enough time to get a few things done. I just want to get some feedback if that seems doable for most people. And again, we're talking about on Zoom, so we can be at home and still be in your pajamas if you wish to, but we can get in there and do some things, and hopefully be able to move us further ahead. So in terms of being more effective and certainly more efficient in terms of what we're doing. So some feedback does that sound good to everybody? Can I go on and schedule it, etc.?
I'm going to put it on my calendar, Doc. I just don't know if I'm going to be in town that weekend yet. My wife and I may be traveling to visit our new grandchild, but I don't know yet. I have to ask her. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's see. Kay, you had your hand raised. Sorry. Go ahead.
Doc, since we're talking about the topic of meeting together to work as a group and, you know, engage in these discussions, I kind of want to go back to Preeti's presentation about, and a question as to what she thinks about the engagement on the survey itself. We have 7 out of 14 people. That's 50% of task group that did not participate in a self-assessment survey of the task force, which was meant to provide insight on how we're supposed to move forward. So we have 50% engagement on a survey, and we're expecting 100% engagement on a work that is supposed to help us move forward. Just the thought of this is amusing but concerning at the same time. That what could be the reasons people did not participate? They were afraid of, you know, anonymity, or not understanding the questions. I mean, it literally took less than 15 minutes, so time was not the issue. But the lack of engagement is concerning.
Yeah, I have the same concern too. That was my last comments for this meeting, because we are 15 people. We are not seeing them at all, only few of us every time, and every concerns arising regarding this task force group. So is there any way you can reach out to the other people, or any, you know, recommendations you can make? You know, I want to know where we are going, because this is our second year. We are not doing anything, you know, we're just talking. I want to see something in action.
Well,
you know, at least to start a book reading club or discussion group, something like that, you know, engage, you know, something.
Well,
but it's really concerning. People are not participating in our meetings.
Sure.
You know, an hour, maybe we can reduce to 40 minutes, but we have to go through all these work group, you know, updates. Our work group is very little because we don't have no support from the leadership, not you guys from the town, but again, the internship is a big new thing, so we have to talk about a lot of things. Also, we need a little more time for this meeting scheduled too. Maybe a Zoom meeting will be a good thing, so we can stay a little more and you know, move forward with the positive things. Thank you.
Yes. Cobra, you had your hand up. Is she still here? Oh yeah, okay. Cobra, yeah.
I'm here not to be repetitive, but I just wanted to add that what I'm finding is that in our individual work groups, when we break off, where a majority of the work actually takes place, is what happens, those groups slowly diminish over time, the size of those groups. And we only have like the same couple people willing to dive in there and do the work. And we all realize we have lives outside of this task force, and time crunches and obligations and commitments, and the work groups, like at least one of the ones I'm in, we're just it's the drop off as time goes on.
Okay.
Same thing with our groups too, Doctor. When we start with all our work groups, we have so many people, we don't see any of them. I don't want to mention people's names. We're just seeing 2 people the first time for this meetings today, and they already left. And it's really concerning. And they are all well educated people, and we can use their potentials towards this goal. Maybe we can do something about it.
Okay. Let's see, Pretty.
Yes, I just wanted to respond to anybody who's feeling disappointed about the lack of participation. It is not unusual when you're a volunteer group for people to drop out because you're not meeting the exact agenda. And sometimes people can really want something and you're trying to please everybody and you get nowhere, right? So I would say really what we need to be focused on is the long-term goal. You know, our goal is racial equity and justice, and we have a vision. And though many people said they're not clear, if you're clear, it won't be discouraging. So I'll say, when you're with volunteer groups, this is not unexpected. It happens a lot. It just means you're not doing exactly what they want, which you can't. But for example, with the data and best practices work group, I'm not going to discuss it here, but I sent you the report. And one of the things I've said is disband that group because people were dropping out, but for good reason, because the work we have to do now has to be done in other specific subcommittees. And so I'll let you all read it and we can discuss it next time. But all I can say is don't be discouraged, because it just means, people have conflicting priorities, and we can still get to our vision. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Sabrina.
Yes, I totally understand where you're coming from on that one, Pretty. But at the same time, we've applied to be on this task force and we did the work to be assigned to this task force. So there's a responsibility to the group. It is a group of 15. It is not a group of 50. So attrition in a group of 15 is a lot. Even one is a lot. So I think if they made the effort to be nominated to this task force, then they've agreed to the commitment to this task force. And as Liz was saying, it's frustrating. I have an incredibly full work schedule, right? I have incredibly crazy home life, and yet this is important, and I'm putting the work in to help on basically 4 work groups, and I can't keep that rhythm up. I can't keep giving that 150% every single month when 2 people, somebody showed up today I've never met, that I'm like, oh, who is that person? I don't even, oh, they're on the task force. I didn't know. So I think there is a sense of frustration, I know on my part, that I am committing a lot of my free time to this, and there's not equity in the amount of commitment from others within the task force, and that's frustrating. I totally get work-life priority, and I'm not saying show up or don't be on the group, but the amount of attendance is pretty much these same people every single month for the past 6 months. And that's, for me, frustrating as a new member.
Well, basically, all of these comments really underscore the need for us to actually have this workshop, where once again we're not going to discuss Niskayuna issues. Okay, it's just about, like any organization who has that has multiple members from different backgrounds and different lives, and how do we more effectively work together, in a sense. How do we go from just being a collectivity of people to really being a group, or should we say, like, or a team? Yes, Pretty.
So, Doc, what if, again, the same group of people who are concerned, who always show up, and the people who don't show up? So you're kind of teaching it to the choir, people who understand we need to be there, we need to be committed. They already have that kind of commitment. And the people, so I'm just trying to figure out, if you're not going to get majority participation in the retreat, how is that going to help?
It's going to help because it's going to, even those, well, first of all, if we when we have at least 10 up to 15, that is a majority. Okay. That's the first thing. And we won't get 100% participation, because even though 100% of the people might sincerely want to be there, real things will occur, and things will happen. What the most that we can do is, how this will help those of us who are there, uh, being more effective leaders and just moving on. The other thing is this, uh, there are measures in our bylaws, excuse me, to have replacements. If it seems that someone is not really uh, actively uh, participating, all right. So and let me also say this. Uh, as a chair, I personally have tried to um, have a hands off approach to the working groups, because I didn't want to have a undue influence. I believe in process, and then when the leader of the group is there, again, that I think that may stunt the development of other persons or other types of conversations, et cetera, et cetera. But um, what I will do, in light of the fact that there is a lot less participation, I will in fact get involved myself in one or two of the other work groups, and I'll think about it and see which ones that I can perhaps be more helpful. And quite frankly, if someone or one of the chairs or a member on a particular group might want me to step in to provide some additional support, I will do that. Okay. Uh, I just know that the principle of what we are about is a sound one. That we have to get better at the execution. All right. I want to encourage you all not to get discouraged, because in every organization, to be honest, it seems like there's a core group of people that really lead the way. Other folks kind of just on the bandwagon, hopping on the bandwagon, or perhaps just aren't as active. So in a very real sense, we aren't really that different, just as Pretty was saying. But the key is for us to how do we take the talent and energy that we have and more effectively use that, in spite of the fact. So in short, we got 15 people. We know we've got a committed 10. Then how can we use that 10 better, so that we in fact can either encourage those that other five, or scrape off a couple more from those other five, or move forward in spite of the help of those five. So I don't want anyone to get discouraged here. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that we can really turn things around. And so let us come to the workshop in the right spirit, and at the same time, I will promise to take a more hands-on role in terms of helping. Like I said, I just don't want to. I try not to. I try not to. I don't want it to dominate any work groups or anything like that. But I certainly can provide a little more help if that's needed. So just let me know. All right.
Where can the
Technically,
where can the
chairs.
bylaws be found? Because I don't
Ah,
see them on the website.
they are not on the website.
I can't find them.
Okay.
It's in our
Actually,
Google Drive documents. It's there.
And I don't think I have full access to all the task force working documents on Google Drive.
I don't think I do either. Like, I don't know if the newest members got access.
Okay.
I would suggest emailing John Lemlin and have him share them with you. If I think that's probably the quickest way to get them.
I think, yeah, it probably is. While it's 8:30, I'm telling you, I really appreciate the dedication here. We've all hung in here. I think we've got some good things out. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead on and schedule that workshop, a general workshop on organizational effectiveness, uh, on the 19th of next month, and we'll just go ahead on and move forward. But nevertheless, any last thoughts before I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Doc, are you going to make a flyer, or are you going to put it in our Niskuna website? How are you going to reach out to the people? No, this is just for us.
It's just
This
for
is
us.
just for us, just for us. But again, it's for us as individuals. It is not a task force workshop. Okay. Otherwise, the public has to be involved. All right. It's just us as individuals uh, attending a workshop about how to be more effective as a group, how to turn a collectivity into a team. So we'll do that. I just think that we need to be able to do that as individuals. I don't think it's a town problem. I think it's a way. How do we get a group of individuals to work better? Okay. So
One more thing. I
sure.
have family emergencies, so I don't know. My each days depends upon the phone calls. So I try to go and come back on time, but with the COVID situation, so I cannot say.
Oh, hey, listen, you have all sympathy. I told you I've actually had two deaths in my family because of COVID, so I'm very sensitive to that. I uh, uh, first a sister-in-law just the other week, and then 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, I buried an aunt. Okay, so I'm uh, I'm very sensitive, and quite frankly, I'm very leery. I'm still very leery about meeting in person, but mask in tow, if we have to, I will. All right. So, any other thoughts before we close out tonight? You guys have been extra committed tonight. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the fact that you hung in here and we dealt with some things. Well, and quite frankly, when people present these ideas, we have to be willing to ask tough questions. Okay, and so in any case, just officially, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you guys so much. The ayes have it. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
And,
everyone.
Thanks,
we'll
everybody.
Yep. Bye.
Good night,
Thank
all.
you.
good night.